Hey there, Ed McCormack here, founder of the crypto education platform, DChain. Before we jump into today's video, hate to ask again, but please subscribe to this channel, pound that like button. All the support that we get from viewers like yourself have really helped us in growing this channel, and we appreciate it. So with that out of the way, let me start the video off by asking a question. See if you can guess what token we're going to be talking about today. So what token started off this year at 64 cents and is now appreciated over 66 times, all the way up to $42.50. Now, if you guessed Luna, you'd be right. And Luna, despite its meteoric rise in price, could potentially do a 2 to 5x in the next 2 to 3 months. And that's what we're going to be covering today and why you need to put them on your radar, starting now. So before we jump into some of the big updates around Luna, let's talk about how Luna is positioned in the Terra ecosystem. Now, taking a step back, you might ask, well, what is Terra? Terra is basically a blockchain that was created on this protocol that lives on Cosmos called Tendermint. Now, without getting too technical, what this has created is a whole platform, a whole stable of stable coins that are effectively produced to help hold value much better than the current options that we have today. If you look around, you could see USDC, Tether, which is USDT, Binance USD, DAI. We have no shortage of stablecoins, but the fact of the matter is that for the most part, they're pretty terrible at actually holding value. And this is what Terra and its whole stable of coins with UST really focused in on solving. And that's why just only a few months ago, Coinbase decided to list UST. Who they don't have listed is Tether, USDT, nor do they have Binance USD. So the two of the biggest stable coins in the world are, interestingly enough, not listed on Coinbase or many other centralized exchanges in North America. But UST is. And this is where things get exciting, because if you look at Luna's overall economics as a token, its value is directly correlated with the overall demand for UST. Meaning, UST being that stablecoin holding value, it has to use Luna as a way of providing that stability. Meaning, Luna will either be sold and used to mint more UST, or in the inverse, what it will do is more Luna will be minted when ultimately demand is just too low for UST. Nevertheless, with greater demand now on the horizon, and I'll talk about that in a moment, there's a lot of excitement around Luna as an overall stablecoin utility to invest in. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. So first, let's talk about one of the big updates that's increasing that demand. And one of the biggest updates is this new update called Wormhole. For lack of better words, what it's creating is an easy way for holders of Ethereum, of Binance Smart Chain, Solana, Polygon to use UST. Now you might say, well, what's the big deal? Well, if you use Ethereum, how easy is it to start to use Binance USD? Pretty hard. Oftentimes you can't even buy Luna. Actually, to date, you can't buy Luna directly on Ethereum. You need to buy wrapped Luna, which is a synthetic. You're not buying the real thing. You're buying an asset that mirrors the performance of Luna. So on many of these blockchains, there is a interoperability issue. You can't just use one asset across many blockchains until Luna, until this new wormhole upgrade, where you'll now be able to use UST as the de facto stablecoin on all of these blockchains, including Solana. Now, why that's important is that with UST becoming, a more widely adopted, decentralized stablecoin, it is avoiding a lot of the issues that potentially could start plaguing some of the larger stablecoins out there, such as Tether, which is the largest, roughly 72 billion in supply. The US government has already put them under their microscope. You have Circle, who created USDC, Binance, who clearly is involved with Binance USD. You could see that ultimately, as governments start to put more of their attention and put the spotlight on these private companies that are running popular stablecoins, the demand for decentralized options are only going to grow. Which brings us to the second update, and this is enormous. The founder and CEO of Terra Labs, who is the organization behind Luna and the Terra blockchain, has announced that he is going to uphold Proposition 44, which basically states that early next week, so either the October 26th, 27th, 28th, at some point, they are going to burn 10% of all the supply of Luna, which is crazy. It's lunacy, because right off the bat, you already are seeing a spike in demand for UST. Now, all of a sudden, you're just going to take away 10% of the stabilizing utility token, and you are all of a sudden going to see a pretty big surge in overall demand, knowing that it's even more scarce. So despite the fact that there's all these burns going on, meaning that more Luna tokens are taken out of supply forever, now you're going to compound that by taking roughly 90 million tokens out of overall circulation for all, forever, which is crazy. And this is something that is drawing a lot of interest, because which is the third piece of the puzzle here, as you start to see Luna, where the other contributing factor to overall scarcity, knowing that demand and supply could drive price, are the number of people who own Luna and stake it. Now, this has been a point of contention for a lot of people, because a lot of people see a lot of value in the actual Luna token, but they don't get really that high of interest rate or yield by just staking it compared to other tokens you could buy. Roughly, it's about a 3% interest rate annually that you can get. Pretty low. Until this move to burn 10% of the supply, which the founder of Terraforms now projects that we will see a pretty significant spike in overall swap fees being done in order to get a hold of either UST or Luna, which then will be automatically directed to all of those liquidity providers and stakers as a reward for fueling this overall ecosystem. And the net result is that he projects that we will go from roughly a 3% interest rate to a 15% interest rate, which is pretty massive, a 5x increase just basically overnight by the decision to reduce the overall supply by 10%. So net, what we're talking about here is we've seen, over the first almost 11 months at this point, massive momentum behind Terra as a blockchain, UST as its flagship stablecoin, and Luna as its primary native currency, but also utility token. And with its high-profile listings on Coinbase, upgrades that are going to make UST a lot more accessible across a number of blockchains now, including Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Solana, Matic, which is now Polygon, etc. Plus, you're compounding all of that and fueling the flames by reducing the overall supply by 10%, and now directing all swapping fees, which are projected to go up because of overall demand, now directing all of that from the community pool directly to liquidity providers and staking and stakers. You could potentially see a 2 to 5x in the price of Luna by the end of 2021, meaning we could see anywhere from $100 to $200 just in the next 60 days. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, again, subscribe to this channel, pound that like button, and until next time, happy and safe investing. I'll speak with you soon.